What's going on, family? This week, I have something real special for you because this week I want to talk about the power of storytelling. As a speaker myself, I have the privilege and the honor to get to share my story and many stories with many people all across the world. And one of the most incredible feelings that I get to experience from sharing my stories is when I see something that I said click in the head of someone else, right? When something finally clicks in their head, or they come up to me after a show or an event and they share how what I said has given them a different perspective or has given them a different insight on life and how they can use it to take action in their own lives. Because the reality is that from the beginning of time, storytelling has been used as a way to learn, understand, obtain knowledge, and many times entertain, right? We all have that. We all have our favorite entertainer. And you'll find that a good story piques our curiosity, touches our emotions, and engages our imagination. And many times, stories are the way that we understand and make sense of the world that we're in. It's what connects us as individuals, and that's why it's so important that we share our stories with one another. You know, oftentimes I'll hear people say something like they don't have a story, or they don't know what their story is, or they don't know how to tell their story, or they just aren't courageous enough to share their story. And I know sometimes it's difficult for people to share their story, especially if they've been through something traumatizing, or they experience an accident or something maybe even shameful in life. So it's difficult for them to even have the courage to share their story. But whenever I hear one of my clients say any of those things, I always tell them that everyone has stories to tell. Everyone has stories to tell, and that storytelling is a skill set that can be developed, and I want to help them to develop it. You know, when telling a story, there's a few things that you want to keep in mind. First, you want to remember that every story has a beginning, middle, and ending. And one of my mentors, and you guys know who he is, Les Brown, he likes to say, never tell a story without making a point, and never make a point without telling a story. They go hand in hand. You want to make sure that you tell a point, and you want to make sure that you attach a story to the point that you're wanting to make, so that you can give the audience or the listener like a visual or an imagination or something that they can hold on to and grasp, right? Secondly, know the purpose of your story. Every story has a purpose, and you should make sure that every story you tell is a good fit for the people or the audience that's listening. Even though the story may be yours, doesn't mean that it's about you. That's why you got to make sure that it's a good fit. Because when you're telling a story, a very important aspect to remember is how will the story that you're sharing connect, resonate, inspire, or motivate the people or the person that are listening to it. You know, one of the main purposes and arts of storytelling is to, and this is where your creativity really this is where your creativity kicks in, and this is where you get to really be creative when you start to practice and start telling the stories, is because you want to bring the listener on a journey with you. All right, listen to that. You want to make sure that you bring the listener on a journey with you. You want to bring them into your story. You want to let them experience all of the emotions, the pain, and the excitement of the story as if they were right there with you when it originally happened. So I want to give you a few quick steps to consider when developing and practicing your own story. So if you're taking notes, this is where you're going to want to write down some or jot down some of the nuggets that I'm about to give you. Number one, you want to begin with the past. Right, you want to begin with the past, because a strong attention grabbing opening makes a massive difference for your audience that will hopefully keep them engaged. So you want to make sure that you open up strong. You want to finish strong, but you want to make sure that you also open up strong as well. Number two, you want to address the pain. We've all heard it said, like in business, if you want to become successful, you got to touch people. You got to recognize and address people's problems, and you got to help solve those problems. And it's the same thing in life, right? You want to address people's pain points, because what happens is when you're addressing their pain points, now they know that you're human just like they are, and that you've been through the same struggle or something similar that they have. And so what happens is that you make your story relatable. You make your story relatable, and now that person doesn't feel isolated, like they're the only person that's happened to before. So that's one of the powerful things about sharing your story, is that you address the pain, and by doing so, you make it relatable. Number three, you want to take them into the present tense and into the future. So you've taken them to the past by opening up with that strong story. Now you want to take them to the present tense and the future, because by doing that, what you're doing is you're showing them how you've been able to overcome. And if they're struggling with something that's similar to yours, now you've just given them insight on how to overcome what it is that they may be struggling with if it's similar to your story. So you want to also, not only do you want to bring them into the present tense on how you've been able to overcome it, but you want to take them to the future. You want to show them what your future is going to look like because of the fact that you've overcome and that you've become a conqueror of that situation or that struggle, and how you plan your future is going to look from this point going forward. So now you're giving them hope as well. Number 4, you want to close with confidence and clarity. This is very, very important. You want to close with confidence and clarity because you want to have them to be able to walk away from hearing your story with their own level of confidence and clarity. So now they can implement maybe your insight or your perspective, your new perspective that you've given them, and turn around and apply that into their story. So now they're walking in a level of confidence and clarity that makes them feel unstoppable, right? So you let them see the purpose and the point of the story. So everything is clear and everyone's walking away confident, not only in themselves, but in the story that they're going to share with others as well. And then lastly, number 5, you want to inspire people to action. That's, at the end of the day, this is the most important thing. You want to inspire people to action. Yes, we all have stories. Yes, we all have powerful stories, but you want to make sure that you're sharing your story in such a way that's encouraging people and motivating people and pushing people to want to take action in their own lives, because sharing your story gives others the strength to take an action or a change in perspective in facing whatever situation or circumstance that they may be going through. And so at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your stories are memorable. This is the main key of everything I've said during this whole quick little nugget today. You want to make sure that your stories are memorable. So don't just go ahead and tell a story just because it's a powerful story, but you want to go ahead and tell a story because you help make a lasting impact on the people who are listening to them. That's the key right there. You want to generate lifelong fans. You want to generate raving fans, whether you have a business or you have a company or you're a storyteller, or you want to start sharing your story and you want to become successful at that. You want to make sure that you're able to make your stories memorable because they help you make a lasting story on the people that are listening to them. So I want to encourage you today, guys. I know that if you're watching this and you're listening, I know that you have a story. I know that you have a powerful story. And I know that you've been through some things in life. And maybe you're one of those people who doesn't know how to share your story, or maybe you feel like you don't have a story. But I want to tell you that you do have a story. And if you need help with that, I want you to go ahead and reach out to me, because I can definitely help you to develop and craft a powerful signature story that's not going to impact you listening to your own story, but that's going to help you to use that to impact other people around you. So there you have it, folks. That's what I have for you this week. I hope that you got some valuable nuggets from today. Share your story, make it a powerful one, because other people are counting on you to share your story. I'm going to go ahead and leave some links in the comments to some products and services that I have that can help you to potentially generate and craft that story. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, go ahead and DM me or private message me. Feel free to reach out because that's what I do. I love doing that. It fires me up, and I want to help fire you up as well. So I appreciate you. I love you. Take care and God bless.